Hey guys, and welcome to episode 26 of How I Made My First $1,000,000. Today is November 1st, 2022, plus a couple weeks. A little late. I'll explain why in just a second, but first let's check out the numbers. Okay, so assets coming in at 86,000, pretty much unchanged. Liabilities 70,000, definitely unchanged. Net worth still 16,000, practically unchanged. And yes, this is extremely low. So let's actually put that in context. This chart we showed last time, yeah, down here, we just got a new data point here at the end. So November is 16,200 instead of 16,000 flat. But as you can see, this is pretty much the lowest my assets have been, the lowest my net worth has been. So not stellar, not stellar. I guess at least it's not negative, right? Looking on the bright side. Anyways, okay. What do we want to take a look at? Let's look at income because there were some changes here with income. You'll notice revenues dropped off quite a bit, about 4,500 less than they were last month. But expenses dropped off significantly as well. Let's explore why. So first of all, huge change. I did not sell any of my investments this month. This zero here is not an accident. That is correct. I did not buy or sell any investments. So that's pretty huge. I did earn more consulting income, and that was enough to cover all my expenses. So positive net income, even without selling investments. That's pretty huge. In terms of expenses, nothing meaningful to discuss here except personal growth expenditure dropped a lot. I paid for rite of passage the previous month, but obviously this month I did not have to pay for it again. There was another sizable payment here for my life coach, but nothing of the magnitude as before. Anything else? Taxes. Taxes went up a lot because I filed my previous year, so 2021. I filed my 2021 federal taxes, and I owed something like 800 bucks. So that should not be a recurring monthly payment. It'll go back down to what it was next month. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about expenses. Yeah, cash flows. So as I mentioned just a second ago, income from employment was enough to cover expenses. So basically that means I had an operating gain, I had an operating profit instead of an operating loss. Last month, a huge operating loss. And I think I said that was the most telling data point of the entire analysis. So now instead of being negative, it's positive, which is a huge turnaround. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable because most of that, because I didn't do any consulting, I'll put it that way. So I know it's not sustainable. So next month it'll basically go back to what it was before. But I am looking to make a more sustainable change in that regard. I am in talks to acquire a job. I'll elaborate on that in just a second. What else do we have here? Cash flow statement. Okay, purchases, are almost 4,000 lower than they were before because of rite of passage. Or taxes are up, as we said just a second ago. Investing, again, zero because I didn't buy or sell any investments. I think we saw back on the assets page. Yeah, for example, Bitcoin's up about $4,000. I don't know what that is as a percentage, roughly 2/3 of 10%. So call that 6% maybe. I guess we could just do the math here real quick. We could do the math. Okay, 6%. Yep. So anyways, we can see how our assets are doing here, but we don't see them here. So anyways, I just didn't buy or sell any. That's what that's telling us here. Financing activities, nothing really changed here. I basically spent less on the softball team, and I have an update on the softball team, which I will mention in just a second as well. Okay, so a lot of updates to cover, but I wanted to go through the numbers first. So we did have a net increase in cash, but not as large of an increase as last month. But again, that bottom line number doesn't tell us the whole story. Okay, updates. What happened this past month? Well, I completed Rite of Passage, and that actually spilled into the first week of November, which is part of why this video was late. I basically spent that first week of November where I ordinarily would have been working on this video, working on essays and course content instead. So that was far more important. I figured I could push back this video. Yeah, so that's why that was late. Also, I found my people. So Rite of Passage promises 3 things: publish quality ideas, find your people, and 2x your potential. So I definitely feel like I found my people. Friends for life, colleagues, I mean, just awesome, super cool. Along those lines, I'm continuing Storytelling Academy. I think I mentioned that in the last video, and that is what is most likely to be my next full-time job. Yeah, so full-time. I at first thought it might be half-time. I think it's going to be full-time. So nothing official yet, but extremely exciting, and I will elaborate more as more details are available. I'm also continuing the Bible study, which is just like a fun thing. It just kind of demonstrates that there are cool people with shared interests doing neat things, and that's fun. So that's happening once a week. And there's also a group that I didn't write down here, which is a weekly accountability group with 5 Rite of Passage alums, and 3 of us are going to be writing a book in the next 6 months. So I might be the only one who's trying to publish in the next 6 months. 2 of them want to publish a draft, but we've only had 1 meeting, so I don't want to claim too much yet. We've only met 1 time. So we will see how that shapes up. Also, what did I do in October? I posted 4 articles on my Substack, so that's a big accomplishment, getting some momentum, and I will probably publish another one today. I also published the next version of my website, version 1.1, so it is still extremely primitive, but I went through the process of editing it again and putting more content on it, so that feels like a big step forward. I also had my 34th birthday, which honestly doesn't feel very special, but it's something that happened. Sandlot was expelled. Yes, so my softball team was expelled from the league. There's like a whole story here, and it's maybe not that relevant to most people, but it's just an interesting thing that happened. So basically, I'm not in Florida, haven't been all season, and I guess in my absence, the team sort of disintegrated for a number of reasons, but like that's I think probably the most relevant one. So we had a few people who said they were going to show up to certain games, and then they didn't show up, and our team forfeited, I think, 4 games, and that's enough to warrant expulsion from the league according to the league rules. So our team didn't get to finish the season, and unrelatedly but importantly, the softball fields might be getting destroyed and being repurposed for an airport. So that has nothing to do with our team's actions. It's just something related to the town and other independent parties. But it could be the case that we've played our last softball game. So bittersweet for sure. I mean, definitely disappointing, but if the team and the league dissolves for that reason, maybe it's for the best. I'm trying to take it as a blessing, not a curse. So that happened. And finally, I just want to make a note that moving forward, I'm definitely not going to be able to do these videos on the 1st of every month. I'm going to aim for the 7th of the month. And the reason for that is that in order to do this analysis with these financial statements, I have to have all my financial transactions posted to my bank account. And that takes several days, 3 or 4 after the last day of the month. And if there's a weekend or a holiday, things might not post. So I definitely have to wait until the 3rd or the 4th of the month. And then it takes me a lot of hours. I think I spent 8 hours like getting ready for this video across 4 days. So I'm going to aim for the 7th of the month from now on. So, anything else? How am I feeling? I'm feeling a little intimidated, but super excited. There's so many amazing things ahead of me and that are available, but they're super exciting things. Super exciting things. Um, yeah, I think I explained what I'm thinking and what I'm doing throughout that analysis. I'm thinking that I probably should get a full-time job. I want to make sure I have an operating gain or an operating profit every month and not an operating loss because I don't want to be selling my investments at this point. Like I just don't have enough of a cushion that I feel comfortable selling investments to live. I did earlier. It was a strategy that I was happy to try, um, but at this point, it doesn't really make sense. I don't think it's prudent. So that's how I'm thinking. Um, but I'm also going to be working on other sources of income, not so much because they're sources of income, they just are sources of income. I'm working on them because I want to honor the creativity that's inside of myself, quite simply. Like if I don't publish a book, I'm going to regret it my entire life. So that feels like something that needs to come out of me. Do I make income from it? I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't particularly care about that. So yeah, a lot of exciting things. Um, do I have anything else? That's how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, and that's what I'm doing. Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you next month.